Recently, there has been growing international attention on Nigeria's ongoing security crisis and religious tensions. A significant part of this conversation came up in a roundtable hearing in the U.S. Congress, where an expert on African issues, Ebenezer Obadare, a senior fellow for Africa Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations, shared his insights. He called on the United States to pressure Nigeria to disband the Hisbah Corps and ban Sharia law, especially in the northern part of the country. Now, this is not just a minor issue, it's a deeply emotional and political one. For those who might not be fully aware, Hisbah is essentially a religious police force that operates in several northern Nigerian states where Sharia law has been implemented. The Hisbah Corps are tasked with enforcing Islamic laws, which include punishing offenses like drinking alcohol, dressing immodestly, or engaging in activities deemed un-Islamic. While this system of religious policing is seen by some as a means to enforce morality, others argue that it has led to a rise in religious intolerance, discrimination, and even violence, particularly against religious minorities like Christians. Sharia law, implemented in 12 northern Nigerian states since the late 1992, is a source of significant debate within the country. While it's argued that it aligns with the religious beliefs of many in these regions, critics, like Obadare, point out that it conflicts with Nigeria's secular constitution and endangers the rights of non-Muslims. The Nigerian constitution, as it stands, guarantees freedom of religion and freedom from discrimination based on religion. However, when states implement Sharia law, it creates a situation where non-Muslims and even some Muslims who don't strictly adhere to the law can feel marginalized or persecuted. What's most concerning here is the human rights violations and abuses tied to these systems. There have been reports of forced conversions, unfair trials, and punishments based on accusations of blasphemy or moral infractions. This has led to mob attacks, killings, and the displacement of innocent people. The situation is especially dire for Christians in the northern states, where some church leaders have raised alarms about the increasing overreach of Sharia law and the Hisbah Corps. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, for instance, has warned that the very existence of these systems threatens Nigeria's secular identity and the rights of Christians. In fact, a lot of Nigerian Christians feel that they are living under a constant threat of persecution, with very little recourse when their rights are violated, what Obadare emphasized during his testimony before U.S. lawmakers is the connection between these legal systems and the increasing religious violence in Nigeria. He pointed out that groups like Boko Haram and even smaller jihadist factions have used the presence of Sharia law to further their agenda of establishing an Islamic state. These extremist groups have often targeted Christians and other non-Muslims, seeing them as infidels or enemies of Islam. Obadare mentioned that the insurgency by Boko Haram, which has been active in the country for years, is one of the biggest threats to Nigeria's security. Their goal is to overthrow the Nigerian government and replace it with a hardline Islamic caliphate. This is where things get tricky. While Boko Haram is the primary source of terror and violence, the parallel legal systems like Sharia law and Hisbah don't do much to help the situation. In fact, many argue that these systems actually fuel religious divisions and contribute to a sense of alienation among Nigeria's diverse population. By promoting a legal framework that's heavily based on one religion, the government risks creating a divided society, one where religious minorities feel like second-class citizens. Now, the situation is not just about legal systems or religion, it's about the real-life consequences. We've seen a rise in kidnappings, especially of Christian girls, and attacks on churches and Christian communities. These acts of violence are often carried out by extremist groups, but there have also been incidents where local authorities have been complicit or have turned a blind eye. Families are living in fear, knowing that their children could be abducted at any moment or that they could face violence simply for practicing their faith. It's not just the international community that's watching this with growing concern, but Nigerians themselves. The issue of Sharia law and Hisbah has sparked intense debate in Nigeria. Many in the northern states argue that these systems are vital to maintaining the moral and religious fabric of society. They believe that Sharia law provides a necessary moral compass and that Hisbah plays a crucial role in enforcing Islamic principles. But on the other hand, many Nigerians across the country, especially in the Christian-majority South, view these laws as a tool of oppression and a threat to the country's unity. So, what's the solution? Well, Obadare suggests that Nigeria needs to take a hard look at the presence of Sharia law and Hisbah and consider their impact on the country's future. He believes that Nigeria should reaffirm its commitment to a secular constitution that protects all citizens, regardless of their religious beliefs. That means that no group, Muslim or Christian, should have the right to impose their religious laws on others. Instead, the country needs a unified legal system that guarantees equal protection under the law for everyone. But that's easier said than done. There are strong cultural and religious forces at play, and any move to abolish Sharia law or disband Hisbah could lead to significant unrest, particularly in the northern states. The political and religious elites in these regions may resist any such changes, seeing them as an attack on their way of life. And that's where international pressure comes in. According to Obadare, the U.S. and other international bodies should apply diplomatic pressure on the Nigerian government to bring about change. But, as he also points out, this is a delicate issue. Nigeria is a sovereign nation, and any intervention or pressure from the outside could be seen as foreign interference. That's where the discussion around religious freedom and human rights intersects with national sovereignty. While many agree that Nigeria must do more to protect its minorities, especially in the face of rising extremism, the challenge remains. How can the government balance religious freedom with the protection of all its citizens? How can Nigeria maintain its secular constitution while also respecting the religious practices of its citizens? As the situation continues to evolve, it's important for us all to keep watching. The future of Nigeria's legal system, the rights of its religious minorities, and the broader question of national unity are at stake. The debate is far from over, and the international community will continue to have a role to play, but ultimately, it's up to Nigerians themselves to shape their own future. What's clear is that the time for change is now. Whether that change comes from the government, from international pressure, or from the people themselves, it's crucial that Nigeria takes steps to ensure that all of its citizens are treated equally under the law, regardless of their religion. The road ahead won't be easy, but it's one that must be walked if Nigeria is to become a more just and peaceful society for all its people. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think Nigeria should abolish Sharia law and the Hisbah Corps? What do you think is the best way forward for Nigeria to achieve unity and peace in the face of growing religious tensions and violence? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future updates. Now, can I continue the gist for you?